What if I told you that a wound's appearance could tell you exactly what's happening underneath? Red, yellow, brown, black, pink. Each color gives us some clues. Some mean healing is happening, while others warn that the wound is in trouble. But here's the problem. Most people, even healthcare providers, misread these signals. They apply the wrong treatment, stall healing, and sometimes even make things worse. For those who don't know me, my name is Dr. Voltaire, the wound doc. I've treated hundreds of wounds, and one thing I've learned is that the right treatment starts with the right assessment. Today, I'll break down exactly what different tissue types mean, how to recognize biofilms, and why understanding the difference between necrotic tissue and stable eschar can mean the difference between healing and infection. By the end of this video, you'll know how to assess a wound at a glance, understand what each color and texture means, and pick the right treatment based on real evidence. Plus, I'll cover something that's often overlooked, biofilms, and how they can keep wounds stuck in a chronic state. Let's get started. Let's start with what these colors and textures mean. They aren't random. They're a direct reflection of what's happening at a cellular level in the wound. Red tissue, which is granulation tissue, is a good sign. It means the wound is healing with new blood vessels forming and fibroblasts laying down collagen. But too much redness can indicate infection or excessive inflammation. Pink tissue means that the wound is closing, also known as epithelialization. These are fragile new skin cells forming over the wound. This tissue needs to be protected from friction, dryness, and excessive moisture. Slough is usually soft, stringy, or sticky tissue that contains dead cells and proteins that must be removed for healing to continue. We normally do it through a process called debridement. It can appear yellow, tan, gray, green, or brown, and it isn't just dead tissue. It may also have fibrin, vat, or even biofilm. Brown, gray, or black tissue is necrosis, dead tissue, but not all necrotic tissue is the same. Soft, moist necrosis is breaking down and also usually needs debridement. Dry, leathery necrosis can form stable eschar, which may or may not need removal, depending on the wound location. Mixed color wounds are very common. A wound might have a red granulating base with yellow slough and black eschar around the edges. This means some parts are healing while others are still struggling. Now let's talk about something else that keeps wounds from healing, biofilms. You might be doing everything right, cleaning the wound, dressing it properly, but it still won't heal. That's because biofilm, a sticky protective layer of bacteria, may block healing. Here's what makes biofilms dangerous. They're stubborn. Biofilms are like a fortress for bacteria, shielding them from antibiotics and immune cells. They also grow back fast. Even if you remove it, biofilms can reform within 24 hours unless the wound is properly treated. They also fuel chronic inflammation. They constantly stimulate the immune system, leading to prolonged inflammation and tissue breakdown. So how do we fight biofilm? Well, debridement is the key. This can be done through mechanical scrubbing, enzymatic treatments, or specialized wound cleansers, but it has to be done consistently. And again, not all necrotic tissue should be removed. There's a big difference between necrosis and stable eschar. Necrotic tissue is devitalized and blocks healing. It can be soft, moist, gray, brown, or black. If it's breaking down and contributing to infection or inflammation, it needs to be debrided. Stable eschar is dry, intact, and sometimes protective. It acts like a natural wound covering. So on areas like the heel or ischemic limbs, removing stable eschar too soon can expose fragile tissue and increase the risk of infection. So if you're unsure, always consult a wound care specialist before removing eschar. The wrong decision could either slow healing or create a much bigger problem. Now that you know what each tissue type means, let's talk about treatment. If it's red, granulation tissue, protect it. Use moisture retentive dressings like hydrogels or foams. We want to keep this tissue thriving. If it's pink and showing signs of epithelialization, support closure, so avoid trauma and harsh dressings that could disturb the new skin. If there's slough, help the body remove it. There are different types of debridement that you can do to help break the slough down. Wounds always tell a story. You just have to know how to read it. Understanding tissue types, biofilm, and the role of necrosis versus eschar can mean the difference between a wound that heals and one that lingers for months. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you, check out my next video on dressing wounds correctly. Stay informed and heal well.